If the WWF title had a heck of a lot to do with you deciding to stay in the World Wrestling Federation?
You know, I'd love to say yeah, but it doesn't. You know, if I come back, even now, if I come back and I don't win the title and it turns out that I just do pretty darn good, I think I just want to come back without any kind of real, you know, I'm going to set my sights as high as I can. I really want to just come back and do the best that I can. I want people to go, there's a guy that gives 100%, and there's a guy that's honest, and there's a guy that has integrity, and that's a guy that doesn't sell out, and that's a guy that's tough. You know, I mean, all the other things, I mean, it all adds up into a lot of different things, but I mean, it'd be nice to win the title again. I mean, I'm going to try my hardest. I hope I don't disappoint anybody if I fail at that, you know, and maybe if that doesn't seem like it's in touch, maybe I'll go in search of trying to get the IC title then, you know. I mean, that's no small claim, you know, and then there's the tag team titles. Maybe if I could just win the King of the Ring, you know, maybe that'll be enough to say, hey, you know, I'm back, you know.
Royal Rumble's coming up.
Anything. I mean, I want to be a player, but how big a player I'm going to be, I mean, I'm no spring chicken anymore. And, you know, if you can gauge anything off how Shawn Michaels did when I in the one match that I seem to have watched, the one with Mankind, you know, I had really stood back and went, this guy's going to be tough. And there's Steve Austin is going to be tough. And Vader is going to be tough. Psycho Sid is going to be, these guys are not going to be, you know, they're stacked up. It's going to be a long, long haul. And but the thing is, they got to take into account that Bret Hart's coming back. And it's like, oh, Bret Hart, you know, the best there is coming back.
Let's talk about Stone Cold Steve Austin in a few minutes. Here's a guy that I understand that your dad is a big fan of. I mean, I know he's a fan of him personally. I'm not saying that, but I understand that Stu enjoys watching Steve Austin compete. Is that true?
I'm sure. I mean, I don't know it to be true or not, but I'd have to say I concur with him. I mean, he would have to be. I know my dad likes guys like that can wrestle, and he'd be watching a Steve Austin.
And your dad likes tough guys.
He likes tough guys, and he likes guys that can take a lot of punishment. Steve Austin's a great wrestler. I mean, you know, he's a little, you know, his worst enemy would be his temper, probably. You know, but I watched him, and I think he's a great technical wrestler, and very few wrestlers can come close to him right now. I mean, name one. You know, I don't know one. Shawn Michaels, you know, I think is a great wrestler, and he's a great athlete, maybe the best athlete in wrestling. I mean, he's really that good, but it's not just athletics. You know, it's one thing to be able to swing from a rope and run and jump and tumble and whatever it is that you want to do as far as athleticism, but it comes right down to who can fight. How can you fight, and how tough can you handle it? Can you take a lot of punishment? And Shawn can take a lot, but I don't think he's tough enough.
Regarding Austin, have you ever, in your mind, and all the great people that you've competed against, you know, you alluded to meeting Davey Boy in Wembley, you know, 83,000 fans. That match has been well documented. You've had some real physical matches when we talked about with Diesel, with The Undertaker. The Undertaker match, I remember one match vividly that was about as intense as I ever saw. But as far as comparing Austin to anybody else you faced, how does he rank as far as just pure tough guys that you know going in, man, I'm going to pay the price in this one?
Oh yeah, you know what it reminds me? It kind of reminds me of me wrestling me a few years ago, and in a lot of ways, he's got a lot on me. You know, he's real strong. You ever see his legs?
Yes.
Strong guy, tough guy, and he's a machine in there. But again, then you start finding faults with Steve Austin, you find that he's a guy that's capable of making a mistake, just like everyone is. But I believe that the one quality that I have over a Steve Austin or anybody else, actually, is that I don't make mistakes, or very rarely. And when I do, well, what happens is you lose a world title to a guy after an hour wrestling match when you have him beat and you have him on the ropes. That's when I lose. That's when I make a mistake. But I mean, it's not very often. And when I do make a mistake, you know, I come back to haunt them.